Well, it's Minner. Got a new bike. I think the last video I was talking about getting something that shows some pride in America, something a little more classic, something a little more simple, something for the long term, maybe something to hand down to a son someday. With all we've been going through as a country and as a society, I've been feeling a little more American pride recently. And even though that Super Naked is a whole lot of fun, unbelievable fun, I'm completely satisfied with the S1000R. There are other types of fun too. And then there's also art. Everyone has a different definition of what they think is beautiful, but I think it's beautiful. It's the Harley Davidson 2016 Fat Boy S. Has a 110 cubic inch motor, ABS as standard, which I thought was unusual for a Harley. It's got electronic throttle, cruise control, single disc up front, single disc in the rear. Everything is big, everything is heavy, everything feels quality. Has an alarm system as standard, keyless entry. Everything is blacked out from the factory, which is why I chose this one, because this is what I'd do to a Fat Boy if I bought one. I'd black it out, spend a few grand doing it, and then eventually you start playing with the motor. Well, the motor's already played with that 110 in it. By no means is that the end of the game though. And it's already blacked out. So if you get a regular Fat Boy and you do all this to it, well, you're going to spend more than if you just buy this one straight out. I have the sissy bar in the back. In the last video I talked about having the fiance, soon to be wife, comfortable, and I think it enhances the look too. So it's a win-win. She loves it. It's very comfortable, fairly broad seat. It can get broader if necessary. A lot of thick padding. A soft tail look with the disguised suspension underneath. The only thing I did to it is I changed the blinkers. I added some tint to it, got rid of the orange. I thought it flowed a little more nicely. Those are stock pipes, of course. This bike is not long off the showroom floor. Give you some different looks here. Nice fat tank. Everything you expect a Harley to be, at least in my mind. Broad, heavy, low, fat, torquey, beautiful, mean. Heel toe shifter, which I actually love. People complain about their boots hanging off of this. Yeah, it's gonna hang off. See? By no means is that uncomfortable. So I'm satisfied. There was a battle in my head between this and the Indian Chief Dark Horse. I love that bike as well. The deal breaker was how established the Harley was. Resale value. If I change my mind with low mileage, I'll get a better return on the Harley. At least a better guaranteed return on the Harley. And I gotta say that the fiance liked this one better. She got a little worked up on the test drive, if you know what I mean. That counts for something. It always has, it always will. And I don't blame her. It's a looker. Just has some chrome accents. Got the ignition switch, fuel cap, fuel gauge, Harley badge, heel toe shifter, kickstand, chrome bracket right here. Not much. 4 caps here, oil tank cover, oil tank piping, push rods, These chrome bits, absolutely beautiful as they stand out against the black background. Even the fins here, which I don't want to touch because they're going to ruin my hand, has that polished outer surface, otherwise has a wrinkled black coating. Came standard with the Screaming Eagle breather. I'll be honest, I know near nothing about Harleys, but I do know when I'm moved. And after a very short ride on this, I knew this was the one. Once again, very close second is an Indian Dog Horse. Awesome bike. If you're looking at big, dark, black bikes, you've got to ride them both. We have the bullet hole wheels with a polished metal rim on the outside just to add a little bit of bright to the otherwise dark theme. I'm sure they weigh a ton. You sport bike guys are cringing out there, but no worries, it's not what it's about. Everything is heavy steel, everything. Look at this fender. This thing weighs well over 700 pounds. I think it's in the realm of 740-ish, if I'm not mistaken. Sissy bar is detachable. It's a flick of these levers here, pops right off. Takes 2 seconds. Everything, heavy steel. It's very impressive. Very impressive. It's just so heavy. It does seem to be very well put together. The fit and finish is wonderful. I'm not noticing any misaligned seams. I'm not noticing any bad welds. I don't notice any imperfections in the paint outside of what I did cleaning it myself. Everything is tucked away nice and neat. Very, very impressive. You know, I'm not in a position to criticize because, once again, first cruiser. As a matter of fact, I haven't been riding motorcycles that long, so I'll save the criticisms for people with more experience. But I can give you the basics. Like I said, it's got the 110 motor. I think it works out to somewhere in the realm of 1,800 cubic centimeters. Has a twin cam configuration, fuel injection, of course. These pipes must be restricting the hell out of it, is my guess. Everything is just so heavy. Very impressive. Very impressive. I could just stare at this for a long, long time, as I can many cruisers. Look at this brake lever here. Look at the foot pad. This actually has rubber mounts under it. You can see how it flexes like this. Probably absorbs a lot of vibration. I think this engine is counterbalanced as well, which smooths it out a little bit. Please keep in mind, this is based off the Fat Boy Low. Why they chose to do that, I don't know, but if anyone can tell me, I'd appreciate it. It does give it that slammed look, and I think this bike is about attitude and look. Maybe it appeals to a wider demographic because people with shorter legs can fit on this and people with longer legs can fit on this. So, it does make sense. My understanding is the suspension has a little less travel. It did feel different. There was a difference between the 110 and the 103. Also with the electronic throttle. There's something about the operation of this bike, and I'm not sure how much had to do with that other Fat Boy, the 103, being about a year old, but this just felt much more smooth, more refined, but it also had that badass kick to it. I have a lot to learn. That's the fun part. I'll probably get some larger bags for the side before I go on a longer trip, some detachables, and I may or may not get a screen for longer trips. This is how she's going to roll if she's not going on a long cruise. Very, very nice. We have to take it easy for two reasons. Number one, as you can imagine, the lean angle is, well, has a lot to be desired, to say the least. Namely, that bad boy, and I'm sure something else would drag pretty soon after it. Secondly, big heavy bike. Cruiser. I'm not about to wring this thing's neck and turn to the chump on the side of the road.